Hi guys, it's Miss Sunny. I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit intro into our next challenge. You can see I've like taped off my space right here so I know like where you guys can see me. We're going to work on monotypes, which is a method of printmaking. It's usually where you have some sort of surface that you're applying paint to, and then you're pressing paper onto it and you make a copy of whatever it is that whatever design you've created in the paint. So we're gonna use some DIY items to make our monoprints. So let me get those materials. All right, I've got all my materials laid out for me. I have a glass of water over here and a paintbrush. I've got paint. I have acrylic paint in these. This is just old acrylic paint that I've used in past projects that I'm reusing. And then I have some paper as well. So we're gonna set our paper aside for now. We're going to be painting right onto this plastic bag I have right here. And this plastic bag is gonna act in the same way that when professional artists make monotypes, they use plexiglass. So it'll be like a big piece of plastic that's almost, it'll be clear, and they'll paint their design right onto that plexiglass. We don't have plexiglass, so we're gonna use plastic bags. My plastic bag has a little pattern or design on it, so I'm gonna flip that to the back so it doesn't, that texture doesn't affect my print. So now I'm gonna open up my paints, and I'm gonna paint whatever I please. Let's see. I do want to make sure as I'm painting, my bag and my paper are pretty much the same size, but I don't want my painting to go bigger than my paper. So just because I didn't measure it first, I'm just going to be a little cautious, a little bit on the inside. I'm putting my paint pretty thick. You have these areas over here where they're a little thinner. We want our paint to be pretty thick because it's got to stick, it's got to have paint to stick to the paper, have enough paint. Maybe I want some loose edges in some places, and maybe I want some sharper, more geometric edges in other places. See how those sharper edges look later. Wash my brush off. Ooh, didn't bring a paint rag. That's okay, I have tissues. Let's see, use some white now. We mix our red and our white, we'll get some nice pinks going on. Maybe that's what we want to go for. Oh, this paint is dry. There we go. The blue is good. Use blue instead. I'm not too worried about my own paints mixing. I'm the only one using them. I don't have to share with 10 other classmates today, so I get to mix my colors however I please, if I want to keep them clean and separate, or if I want to get real messy with it. I love the smell of paint. Paints aside for a second, give myself a little space. Now I'm going to take my piece of paper. This is just paper that I tore out of a sketchbook. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can use printer paper if you have a sort of thicker weight of paper like a cardstock. That might work a little bit better. Printer paper is usually pretty fine to use, except that it dissolves when we add moisture to it, and our paint does have a certain amount of moisture. So I'm gonna lay my paper down, and I'm gonna press all over. If you have a paint, like a brayer, like a silicone rolling pin also, those are all things you could use right now. I'm just using my hands. I don't need nothing special. Bless you. All right, once I've got my pressure all evenly applied, I'm gonna check the corners and edges. Corners and edges are always tricky bits. And I'm gonna be ready to peel away my print. Wow. Nice. Awesome. And you might notice something. You might notice that when we make a print, it's always going to be a reflection of our original design, right? So if you want to write words, make sure you write those words backwards. All right, my friends, that's my monotype.